I think it's just, for us, it's a people business, right? So I focus a lot on just trying to, with each different individual I work with, I try to figure out what their hot button is and I adjust my behavior to work with them and to create that relationship. So, it doesn't automatically happen that the business always works with IT. You really have to build that relationship, and you have to encourage your team to also work well with the business and just try to give them the tools to create a really teamwork-oriented environment and try to put yourself in the place of the other individual and understand what's important to them.
I would add in a very similar way is you have to, for everybody, from the entry-level production programming all the way up to the top of the food chain, is to really be able to work empirically. For all of us who do this kind of work, it's very easy to get stuck in kind of like a pretty inflexible mental model. This may sound familiar for some of you. And no organization is going to let their we're not picking on DBAs, but let their database administrator make business decisions for them. And yet, if you actually look at what happens a lot of times, that's exactly what's happening. And so for the people who can really drive a business effort forward are going to be those who can really look at things empirically. And quite frankly, it sounds a little weird, but just stay connected to reality.
Yeah, I would jump in there and riff on that just briefly, because I think if you guys, there's a great book called Tuned In that sort of says we got to get away from gut-based, gut checks on the products we need to build and be real data-driven. And it talks about good product management and really letting data drive the business. So I think that's a fantastic point. The other thing I would add to that is the pace of innovation that's required of a C-level person these days is insane. I think everybody was being asked to innovate probably before, but there's like $10,000 in 10 days. There's not a lot of patience for stuff that takes a long time. So you've got to really be part of that. And then the second thing is that silos just don't work anymore. You've got to really understand the business, regardless of whether you're in IT or whether you're in product management or whether you're in finance or whether you're in HR. You better understand what the business is, and you need to participate in that discussion because it's a lot faster paced, it's a lot more collaborative. At least in my space, it's a lot less top down. So you're being asked your opinion, and you don't just say, "Well, I'm the engineering guy." You jump in and give your opinion, data-driven opinion, formulated, and you got to be able to roll up your sleeves and help make that happen.
And I'll just add, if you go to like all the CIO conferences, and all they're talking about is the CIO position is going to go away. It's going to be the chief integration officer. It's going to be this, but so much of it is dependent on what type of company you work for. Are you in mining? Are you in entertainment? Who are you working with? Does your boss leave? I mean, you get to a certain point. I mean, they say, if your boss leaves, what does that mean for his career? No, control. There's a lot that goes into all that. I will kind of second the data approach. The one thing that I found that kind of was consistent from it when I was a G, I was a Six Sigma black belt. So I never exposed it to my entertainment clients. They wouldn't know what Six Sigma is or the measurement. But I have everyone in my groups. First thing, if I get a new group, I sit them down. I have them lay out, what are their goals and objectives. They have to lay out for me all their major activities. They can only have 3 objectives. So if they're doing an activity and it doesn't hit at least 2 of the 3, it goes away. We give it to someone else, it goes away, they focus. But then also to really, define, go out, get voice of the customer, define what the key insights are that are going to make them successful with the people they work with, and actually measure that they're doing that. It's kind of, no matter what the discipline, I found that that's the one thing that can kind of keep you grounded, at least keep you focused, and if innovation's the one, put a metric around it and go. Because I think that's the only thing that kind of, whether you're in IT or operations, it kind of crosses all those bounds.